Yes, that was like a who can pull the weirdest face challenge of sorts. Welcome back, ladies and germs, to another episode of the Deductionist podcast. There was a little part of me that was going to say, fill in any random element. Another episode of Coronation Street. It's gone wildly downhill.
Just us and our hot pots.
That's the one. How you doing, dude?
Good pot. Yeah, all good, Tom. Mate, you?
Oh, I've got a cold. So
Cold.
it's not quite stepped up towards man flu level status just yet. But I'm sort of lamenting the fact that I own people. I'm not a slave owner. Bear in mind, I'm talking about my children. It's just been the that Louis C.K. phrase of kids are nothing but buckets of disease that live in your house. So that's what it is. That's what it is.
You just open the doors to their bedrooms. What do you got for me today? Lovely.
Lovely. Big up to Leo. Jennifer, love the black beanie. Thank you very much. I am resplendent in the poolness of it all. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. But yeah, just on that, what you just said, there's no way I'd do that to Gabe's room. There's no way.
What, stick your face in there? Or just open the door?
Both. Both.
I imagine it's like one of the Harry Potter films where there's a door that whips open and just hear screaming and a lot of light and see a bit of wind.
Yeah, pretty much. I could have likened it to getting a Death Eater's kiss, because he don't get me wrong, it comes from hard work, but when he's had a hard day walking home, walking here, the boy sweats. Yeah. But so he's right in the throes of it, and then he goes to work at McDonald's for like 8 hours. So there's all that there as well. They're like, yummy.
Gabe's here.
Yes, I can smell him coming a mile away. Board's in. Good morning, Ben. Good morning, Adam. Good morning, Board. Where can I buy the Sherlockian DVD? The internet.
What is the intrabed?
The internet might be a good way of doing it. I don't have any copies left. Otherwise, you could have got some from me. But most magic shops will be able to sell you one.
A Tesco car park at about 3 a.m. in the morning. Little boot sale.
It's still one of my more treasured screenshots that I've got. There was someone on Amazon and eBay flogging copies of the monographs and Sherlockian, but they wanted £900 and something for a copy of the monographs. Seriously, 900 and I don't know the exact. It was 900 and something, and somebody wanted £160 for the DVD. Like, I'm flattered. It ain't worth that much.
I mean, yeah, that's standard retail price. Everyone just starts saying.
Yeah, that must be what it is. Unfortunately, then, Board, if it's out of stock everywhere, then it's out of stock. So, again, an inadvertent compliment / non-compliment in that all they had is gone. But are they going to print? Nah, we're not going to print it anymore. No one will want that.
It's a rare item. Call it that.
Yeah.
A whole together of copy.
So, everyone who's tuned in live will know the reason why we are here. We're here to talk about community service, about our Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ. That's what we're here to talk about. There was an episode of I Literally Just Told You, and one of the contestants on there was a pastor. And Jimmy, being an outspoken atheist, it was a proper kind of moment where the audience kind of went,
Oh God.
They were talking about followers, and Jimmy made a remark to the pastor like, "Of course, you follow someone very particular, don't you?" And he went, "Yeah, you." Just fully missing the obvious joke. And
Oh.
so they brought it back to Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
and Jimmy he goes, "Well, obviously I don't follow him because he's made up." So it was
Yeah,
brilliant.
right.
I
Knife in the heart.
thought it was brilliant. But yeah, to talk about the display patterns of one Rishi Sunak.
Rashi
Uh,
Bunak.
yeah, I hate doing I hate doing political commentaries because they seem to be just a domain for people to just indulge whatever confirmation bias they have about it. I think Rishi's a penis, therefore all I'm going to see is information confirming that. Or I think Rishi is awesome,
Penis.
then all I'm going to see is Rishi awesome. You know. I hope nobody edits that together. All I'm going to see Rishi's penis. What?
She's
Um,
awesome penis. Just the
that should be a
title of the podcast today.
that should be a cocktail somewhere, and I think it would just be mostly
Well,
petrol in a glass. So we will get to that. We will get to that in a second. There was a big interview he did with everyone's favourite unhinged psychopath, Piers Morgan.
Penis Morgan.
On Penis Morgan. I've
Oh, you
got.
didn't. You didn't say penis Morgan.
No, I didn't see. Did you hear? Did you hear me say Penis Morgan? Hashtag Penis Morgan starts trending.
I wish that was his name.
Yeah, but to be fair, we're not wrong. The guy is the guy's a walking, talking phallus.
Yes, yeah.
Which would be terrifying, to be fair. They're thinking that. Anyway, I feel we could tangent a lot on describing the horror film nature of a walking, talking penis in the shape of Piers Morgan. But
Nick Cage.
Nick Cage would be awesome in that film.
Yeah, that would be good.
He would.
Amazon Prime.
Oh God.
What have we got here?
What is that? Oh, the price is lower than. Oh well, that's.
Is this the bloke that was selling your DVD for 900?
I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, I've just banned it anyway. Whatever the account is, I've just banned it. So, I mean that came through from Twitch anyway. Anyway, so the way we're going to start doing these body language things, if we do them more frequently anyway, is looking at what you do with what you notice, because as we've said since minute one, there's never that kind of I've seen this, therefore it is categorically this, and you proceed as what it is. You're looking for ways to explore the validation, the dismissal, or the clarification of whatever it is that you've observed. Yes, if you can bring these kind of non-verbally connected pieces of information through to work with, then that's better. But that's the way. I mean, we've been doing that predominantly anyway, but that's the way we're going to be focusing on that part more moving forwards. Fuck. God, that really made me out of breath. That one did. That was quite a long sentence.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. The live.
I need some I need some caffeine. That's what I need. I need some caffeine just to see me bouncing off the walls and whatnot. Doesn't help that I'm virtually sitting on a radiator.
Take the drugs. You can trust me.
Yeah, like last time when we ended up riding rainbows.
Oh.
So,
I don't know what I'm doing.
but neither do I. That's kind of my mantra for life as well, though. I don't know what I'm doing. We'll just see what happens. So, I've told you this story privately, but I'm going to tell everyone as well. I was giving a course in London last week. That's why we didn't do the live broadcast, and the guy who I was working alongside of, he introduced me as, you know, the obsessive blah blah blah, who had locked himself in a room in order to study all of which I've done, right, which I have done, in order to study this and this, you know, and the presentation was the shortcut methods to the people taking the course, so you don't have to spend years, months, whatever it is, inside of a room. I'm in my suit, and all of my tattoo that can be seen is the hand one. So I said to them quite seriously, be honest, who, when they saw me for the first time and noticed that I got a tattoo, who made a judgment? Rightly or wrongly, who made a judgment? And you see a few hands go like this. Anyway, turns out that the feedback was positive in terms of all the skills and the teachings, yada yada yada. That was lovely. But the feedback regarding like me specifically was that everyone thought I'd been to prison. That's what they meant. Everyone thought I'd been to prison, like I was some kind of criminal defect, like your Frank Abagnales and whatnot. I've done my time working the criminal side. Now I'm just going to go and bring my knowledge to this area.
Where did we meet then? Was it not prison? Oh my god!
You washed your socks in my basin. That's all I was saying. So yeah, that's the second time in my life I've ever been sort of visually assessed as being a criminal. The other one was when I was training in China. Well, no, they didn't. They'd never catch me for that. There's no evidence. So the other one was when I was training in China, and apparently, if you have a shaved head walking down the street, you are either one of two things: you're either a monk, or you are a criminal. And since I wasn't in monk robes, everyone's kind of gathering their children to walk on the other side so that they're away from me and whatnot.
I mean, they could really, like, you could use that situation to form a really simple heist. You know, a gang of monks. Who would have expected they robbed a bank? All those thugs need to do was throw on some robes. Here comes some rock. We could say.
It's the monks. We're fine. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
What do you want on my money?
Exactly. That's predominantly how it is, and so following on as well, we've got the puzzle stuff that we've been working on with Escape and some riddles and whatnot that get published on TikTok, and book reviews that I did. Do you remember that big stack of books that I did the kind of talk about on one of the episodes a few weeks ago?
I do.
They sent me some more, which when they came in through the door naturally got the loudest of eye rolls from Maddie. In terms of, where the fuck are we going to put all these now?
Another glass case.
Well, that's what it is. I've got a glass case, bookcase, and whatnot. I've literally filled my mum's attic with books as well, because I've got rid of the bookcase here. There's another one upstairs, and there is a giant pile of books right here. But when I open them as well, right?
Yeah.
It's only 5. Not as I'm complaining, because I'm the one that's got to read them, but it's only 5 of them. And so compared to last time already, which I think was, I don't know, like 15 maybe. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. It was a giant stack. First thing I thought, what
the last ones.
What was that?
I say I did like the covers of the last one, so these have to top those covers.
Well, there are a few, but like when I looked at this one, which we'll get, is by Alistair Duncan. And then we've got No Better Place by Alistair Duncan. And then we have Close to Homes by Alistair Duncan. The Norwood Author by Alistair Duncan. And the final one.
You might know an Alistair Duncan.
Well, the final one, to eliminate the impossible. Who is this by?
Duncan Alistair.
Dangerously close. It's actually by David Hasselhoff. No. This one's by Alistair Duncan as well. So I'm kind of thinking that there is a spotlight for Alistair Duncan going on. Deduction. Yes, nailed it. So here's the first one.
Ooh.
Eliminate the impossible. An examination of the world of Sherlock Holmes on page and screen.
Nice.
Job one. That's coming along lovely. And we've got this.
Ooh.
The Norwood author. The Norwood years. I'm presuming that's in connection to the Norwood builder. Close to Holmes. This is actually the profile picture for the Sherlock Holmes book page on Facebook, which is at around 20 odd thousand followers at the minute. This is a look at the connections between historical London, Sherlock Holmes, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Nice.
Then we have In No Better Place.
Ooh.
I presume that's in relation to his home and whatnot. Yeah. Arthur Conan Doyle, Windlesham, and communication with the other side. So I was wrong on that one. So this seems to be something to do with his spiritualist side. And this one, An Entirely New Country. This is called.
Okay.
And if you look at the bottom, who did the foreword?
Good old Alistair. You got him there. Where am I looking? Mark?
You see?
Okay.
Yeah.
No. Sorry,
Mark Gatiss. Oh, is it back to front? Oh, okay. Hang on. I can. Let me try and flip the camera. I'll try and flip the camera. I didn't realise it was back to front. You learn something new every day. There's got to be a flip the script setting over here, isn't there, somewhere?
Flippity flip flip.
Yeah, there's got to be. There's got to be something like that. What does rotate do? Absolutely nothing. Rotate does nothing at all. Screw it. I can't be asked to do it now. But this one has a foreword written by BBC Sherlock's Mark Gatiss as well. So hopefully that should be pretty interesting as well. There's some decent pictures in there and whatnot. Not that I can't read, but everyone likes a good picture.
Lovely pictures.
Yeah.
That's it. Got an audio side for it, which I could listen to.
So let's have a look at this one before we dive into the Sunak-isms. Is there a way to deduce someone's occupation? Someone's occupation is a criminal without, I'm presuming, them having the intention to rob you at the time. What I'm taking away from that is, if you're asking me,
rob someone another time.
Yeah, if you're asking me if there is a way to spot criminals from non-criminals, presumably,
like a scammer situation.
That's what I. Yeah, that's what I'm presuming the question means. So the short answer, no. No. If you're looking at purely a visual assessment, rather than some kind of situational affair with lots and lots of behavioural insight to try and point you in that kind of direction, then no, there isn't. The one that I did for I've done quite a lot, but the one that was in the trailer for the dating company, Love with Intelligence, they sent me a couple of screenshots of dating profile pictures, and there was an audio that came with it. What do you think of this one then? That was the kind of tone of voice. What do you think of this one then? And a few days prior, the guy himself was like, I'm gonna look to see if any criminals have been on in the past to come up with this. I'm thinking, all right, this is clearly a criminal in this particular stage. So there's the context of that one that was given to me. That kind of context isn't given as you just walk by people on the street. Yes, you can say that somebody is more predisposed to the possibility of petty theft, and happy slapping and stealing and this kind of thing, but definitively saying criminal, not criminal.
It's going to be a difficult one, isn't it? Because I was thinking it along the lines of, like you see people who are trying to sell you things on the street, and they're either dressed quite sharply, or they look like they're following a script, or they've clearly done this before because of the confidence they have there and then. But at the same time, it's kind of like what we talk about of judging without any information beforehand. Yeah. You could just be seeing things because that's the stereotypical way you would view someone trying to be a bit dodgy on the street, but they might genuinely just dress quite nicely, or talk quite confidently. Might just be a chance they are genuine.
You got it, mate. You got it.
I'm still waiting on that yacht.
I'm going to buy a boat. I'm on a boat. So, in essence, that's a really good segue into the specifics of the Sunakarisms that we're about to look at. In particular, this is everything that we're going to discuss today is from the big interview he did with Piers Morgan. I don't know, a few days ago, whenever it was. But like Adam was just saying, then the kind of implication, regardless of what side of the political spectrum that you fall on, the implication for this is that you immediately go into these types of situations, given what they talk about, what they do, has direct effect on us, the Commonwealth. It is a challenge to treat the information that you are seeing as objectively as it needs to. Not that it can't be done, but it is a challenge, and it's just a way for people to see Rishi. Oh, he's very twitchy. Oh, he moved his thumb. Oh, he looked away. Clearly, he's lying, and he's doing this, and he hates everything, and spends his days kicking puppies to death. Right?
Because if that's true, Jesus.
Jesus can't help him. As Jimmy Carr pointed out, he's made up. Just to alienate any religious people that are watching as well.
Get you out of the system.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is why I, in particular, don't like doing these political ones. But it was a case of more and more people asking, and I'm always quite happy to happy is probably a relative word based on the legitimacy of what I've just said, but I'm always quite happy to kind of go, okay, this is what you guys are after. Let's talk about it. Right? Yeah, so what was that?
I say, perform, monkey, do your thing.
Yeah, I know, right? Like I need any more accusations than I'm a monkey of sorts. I used to be able to, I'm not going to do that because my AirPods will pop out. But when I did this, and it's quite a good monkey face, I think. So, dude, have you seen any of the footage from the interview with Rishi and Piers?
I have not. I've seen nothing.
Okay, so what it was is Piers goes after an interview in number 10 with all of the prime ministers. It sounds like all of the prime ministers from how he was talking. He tried one with Boris, and Boris, this is a legitimate thing that happened, wandered off midway through the interview and tried to hide in a fridge.
What am I doing? Why am I in here?
He's trying to get the melons pregnant in there. That's what he was trying to do.
Got in a fridge.
Yeah, just trying to get away from Piers because he didn't want to do the interview. I don't think Liz was in power long enough to get the request. I don't know. I don't think she was. But Rishi has he's opened up, and the kind of setting for it was that it was just going to be a chat. Rishi wouldn't know what was happening or what was going to be spoken about, which let's just say from the start that isn't true.
Lied
That
or
yeah, that isn't true at all.
well, make it easy.
But you know, it was a chance for us from how I watched it, and it was painful as well. And it looks like they've thought it's a chance for us, the Commonwealth, to try and see more of Rishi as a person, because he talks about his wife, he talks about his kids, talks about the fact that he's a teetotaler, talks about the fact that he thinks he's quite romantic and enjoys rom-coms. He's a big Star Wars fan as well. He's got lightsabers in the house and whatnot. So immediately, I love him, which is not true. Is not true. I just thought that would be a sarcastic thing to say. So what we should be taking out of this particular practice is the understanding of the context, which is to say it was set up. It sounds like obvious, but the questions are pre-prepared. All of the camera angles, the requisite breaks, the things that were discussed and whatnot. In terms of Rishi's responses, you can literally hear the coaching that he's had to, and even if some of the questions weren't planned, which from how they were delivered, it doesn't sound like they were. There was a definitive causality towards the questions in terms of current affairs. You know, like they talk about the nurses, they talk about how wealthy he is, they talk about immigration and all of this kind of thing. And what was kind of hilarious at the start, he's talking about the Hindu practice of dharma. I'm butchering the pronunciation of that. It's spelt like the Dharma Initiative from Lost.
Oh, okay.
The DHARMA, and apparently this is a practice. Where is it? Roughly translates into duty, and that's how he was raised, that way around. So when he feels that he was duty bound to perform this role, so he can be of service to the general population.
Oh,
At which point Pierce starts to question him. Okay, so how have you been of service?
oh no!
And he immediately struggles. he immediately struggles to answer the question. Rishi's overarching narrative is about trying to appease, because he answers pretty much every question with, "You're right, you're right, you're right." Right? If you want an in for gaining attempts to gain coercion via social engineering, agreement is job one. Agreement is job one. When I used to perform regularly, I still perform a bit, but like when I used to perform regularly a few years ago, you'd say like, do you believe in psychics or star signs, something ethereal of that nature, whatever it is, ghosts, I don't know. Anything like that. Do you believe in? And some people go, yes, because of blah 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 blah. And you go, I agree. There's loads of evidence to support this, and with experiences like yours, and then I'd proceed to show them why that was wrong, and just do my own thing anyway. Or they go, no, I don't, and offer their own opinion, and that's great. Me neither, right? Me neither. And just, all you're doing is you're trying to make the possibility of somebody disagreeing with you or shouting at you or getting in the way of the things that you want to do. You're trying to make the possibility of that less so. So there was a lot of that going on. And you'll have seen the setup for similar interviews. It's framed with like it's not quite a fireplace, but it's framed with something in the background. Oh God, they kind of sat this way around. So this way, so one sat here with a big master shot this side, and coming in for close ups either side, that way around. So it's a similar setup, interview style, but it's formulaic. His responses, there are the same drilled buzzwords over and over and over and over again. He uses the same sentences. I'm trying to do this because it's right, it's proper, it's moral, and then a few seconds later, yes, because that's right, it's proper, it's moral, and then yeah, because that's right, it's proper, it's moral, and you're like,
But it's going up text on screen.
yeah, like he is reading subtitles. And yes, so here's the first thing that you can do with that, right? With those types of things. There is the certain side of that points towards the preparation, that way around, and drilling through having to do something that makes you uncomfortable, either because you have something essentially nefarious and based in half truths to do, or social awkwardness. Right, this is the two sides of the coin. We have a lot of other contextual information to look at that with Rishi, who does have his social awkwardness is different, in that he is socially awkward, but he often doesn't recognize it. Most socially awkward people feel socially awkward, like, oh God, I don't like this. Oh, and it's kind of filtered through their body that way. But it's like Mr. Bean that way around, in terms of his awkwardness and the movements. So there is either side of that to play with. In terms of understanding the legitimacy of the answers. So, like, if I was gonna ask you something to try and, like, if we imagine these observations were filled by your human corpse that way around, and I was trying to understand if your social awkwardness was genuine, like you just felt awkward doing these types of things, or you were going through preparation because of the other reasons, I would have to target my questions around that. And the best way to do it is target any questions towards a specifically human nature that is slightly lower than all of the pressures and strains that a prime minister has to face, because they do, let's face it, they have to deal with a shitload of stress, and hundreds of thousands of people whinging their bollocks off at them every day. But if you diminish that quality with a human element, like a genuine, authentic moment, shields have to come down. Shields have to come down. So in these moments, I'd be like, blah, 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 chatting back and forth. I would have noticed this kind of information. But if I was there, just cut for a second. Are you okay? You look like you're not having a good time. Like, is this okay? Just pull that. Just pull that back. Just pull that back, because at that moment, these preparations have a cause and effect to them. We are expecting them to go in a particular way. If you are genuinely socially awkward and you feel uncomfortable in these kind of public scenarios, you are expecting this interview to go a particular way. Or if you have information you're going to be questioned about, but you can't tell somebody because of either you'll have to lie, or the information is going to implicate you in some way, right? Therefore, you have an expectation of how the interview is going to go. How best do you throw those expectations off the track? By being human. By being human. There is an expectation for being loud and angry and just getting in people's faces and having these kinds of arguments. But if I stop to show some genuine interest, we've gone from this to go, what the hell is happening? It's
nice.
Yeah, I liken those kind of social engineering aspects to a confusion statement out of hypnosis. There are loads of different ones, and my mate Scott from Liverpool, who introduced me to the phrase "bluey," which was great. We're in Blackpool, and we're going for some food. He was, oh great, I'll have it on a bluey. I was, what? A bluey? I'll have it on a bluey.
I don't do those in
like,
public.
Are you okay? Like, what are you talking about? Are you having some kind of aneurysm? Like, a bluey, a fiver. I'll have it on a bluey, a fiver. Okay. Because a fiver's blue. But yeah, his confusion statement was, so I would go, Adam, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your favourite colour of the alphabet? And that moment where you have on a scale of 1 to 10, there's the expectation. What's your favourite colour? that's when you see the hypnotist go, sleep. This one around, and then, so there is clearly this kind of setup element. Rishi has been trained to try and appear subservient to peers. Not in the sense that, oh, Master Piers got to talk to me. Just to appear as though Piers is in control. Because, and I'm
the sort of counsellor at school who
Yeah.
gets on with it.
You got it, mate. You got it. How do you best control somebody with an ego the size of Morgan's? And again, rightly or wrongly, I personally don't think it's up for debate that the guy's got a massive ego. I don't think that can be refuted. But how do you do that? You give them that position that they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
The ammo, essentially.
Yeah. How? Thinking about the place that we used to work.
Yeah.
When DA would come in.
Yeah.
To whatever room we were in, not like us specifically, but like either you by yourself or me by myself or some other story that you'd heard. But when DA would walk into a room, invariably what would happen for you to get him to leave quickly, in the quickest route?
Yeah, just do what he has come to ask of you.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm sure it probably happened to you as well. But even in those situations where whatever he's come to talk to you about, you are irrefutably in the right, irrefutably. Even if you came to be at odds, that way around, you just agree with him, so he would leave.
Yeah.
Because he'd have no other steam to like. Oh, okay, and on we go that way around. Yeah, just fuck off. So, Jennifer, ego, you must be kidding. Absolutely not. And Roy, yeah, I'm not going to try and pronounce your name. Tuning in after, sorry to hear about Cookie's passing. Hope you guys are doing okay now. Thank you for your kind words, sir. It's nice to see you again after so long as well. So this is the kind of way that you would have to take these observations to try and play with them to see what kind of a wavelength that you are on. So now we've got options for us as an outsider to understand why Rishi's doing what he's doing, and to see if why Rishi's doing what he's doing is having the desired effect on peers, because we've got this type of confirmation element that we can still get from a third party, even if we are watching behind a screen. And bear in mind, we can only achieve whatever hypothesis we come to based on that interview and that interview alone. Right, for us to build up a bigger profile, we would have to watch more, read more, look at more interactions. Look at more things that are irrefutable truths or unfiltered truths, and haven't come through the opinion of some journalist that's clearly received a few £1,000 in their bank account that very morning. Which, let's face it, come on, it's definitely happened. There was a moment in there when Rishi's kind of overplayed his hand in terms of communicating he's the subservient one in that moment. And it might be good interview practice, but this is all to back up the observation that he's had prep going into this. That he has had prep, and it's not as unplanned as the kind of breakdown would like to believe it is. He's talking about the 5 things he's going to do while he's in power. like improving the economy, pay, living standards, all of that kind of shit. And he said to Piers, "Yeah, so we'll go through all this stuff, and when it comes round to next year, you can come back and you can give me my report card on how I've done." That's what Rishi said.
Wow.
You can give me my report card on how I've done. Now, if that doesn't confirm previous observations, I don't know what does. But it also raises a new observation that we can make. Is that just manners? Is that just to say, well, you aren't a politician, therefore I have to be guided by the way you view what I do? Right? That's another thing that I work for the people. You're essentially a public servant. That way around, that would be another implication that he was saying. Don't worry, he does many things throughout the rest of the interview that prove that ain't the case. That ain't the case. So I'm going to pop a brief little clip on now, just to kind of indicate some of his stressful moves that he does. So here's the clip.
It's a little bit.
Yeah, it was. Look, it was not what I was expecting. I knew when I resigned as Chancellor. I said at the time that was probably. I knew that would be the last. I resigned thinking and believing that would probably then be the last senior job I had in politics. That's what I thought I was doing, and not to leave politics altogether. But as you said, I didn't expect to be in.
So this discussion here is Piers asking him about his application process for Prime Minister. It was around 2020. He was asked. He was like, "Fuck no, I'm not gonna be Prime Minister. Think about how much they have to face on a daily basis. Blah blah blah. Next year, he's already enrolled in a leadership contest." And Piers was like, "What's all that? What's all that about, dude? What's happening?" To which he asked very direct questions, and Rishi stayed on course of just answering the question that's already in his head. And to me, that's the issue that most of us, the general ignorant public, that's the issue that we have with politicians. That there is never a direct answer to a question. Never. Yeah. Regardless of what side you're on.
Just look back at Boris.
Yeah, exactly. Which is just frustrating. If we are, and again, I'm putting all of the ignorant public, in the same barrel. If we are in a position where we are stressing because of all that we're facing, just a straight answer of going, "This is it," and you go, you'd either go, "Cool, that looks like it might work," or "That's fucking mental, that'll never work." But either way, it's a definitive thing that you can deal with, right? It's a definitive thing that you can deal with. But here's the stress behaviours from Rishi. It's his hands coming back this way round. Now, you look at the way public servants on the TV are trained. You are trained how to hold your hands respectfully. So it keeps together with the image of elocution and the private education that you've been through. If you don't really know what to do with your hands, it detracts from the strength and the position of seniority that you're trying to put forward. Right? If you are all over the place, and this goes back to, it's called an engagement of the reticular activation system. If you are going back towards, this kind of stressful markers and stressful behaviours that you do, you move more erratically, and it's connected to the freeze, fight, and flight process. But it's flight, it's fear, it's your limbic system at the back going, "Let's just flush our body with all sorts of chemicals and run like fuck." That's what's happening. On an anatomical level, there are two things that would be happening. Your hands won't stay the same temperature. They will either get colder or they will get warmer, dependent upon the flushed feeling and the kinds of chemicals that are being motivated by your cerebral responses in that way. If it's and this is a pretty big nutshell I'm about to put this in, by the way. If it's fear based, everything retreats back to the middle in preparation for explosion and protection this way around. If it's fight based, everything would push forward and you would get warmer because you're preparing for action. You're pushing blood and action towards the extremities, ready to do something. The way we would track that is in terms of how someone uses their hands. If it is that it's just these types of things, touching and the like, very surface-based elements, you're looking at movements more towards fear. And if it's this way around and clenching and slower movements together, this is what we're looking at more towards fight. The way they meet in the middle is in what's known as hand wringing, hand washing. Because whether you go cold or hot, one of the side effects is your palms can be clammy. Because if your hands are cold, what do? You keep them together. You keep them together. So it creates excessive amounts of warmth in here. And if your hands are warm, then you wash them on your legs or somewhere else. You dry them off. It's this kind of unconscious acknowledgement of, okay, I am slightly on edge. I am slightly on edge. So then what we can do is push that forward again for another human moment. Right? Yeah. Do you need some, like, offhand? He's got water at the side. So do you need some more water? Can we get Rishi some water? Do you want any ice? Some lemon? Anything like that? That's not the right context because Piers is in number 10, right? So technically speaking, that's Rishi's home at the moment. But these kinds of human considerations would be a great in to understand where he is at that moment. If he relaxes, we know we're dealing with moments that are building up towards stress and barriers and whatnot, and the camera being on. And then there's the relax when he feels that there's an offbeat this way around, which he visually changes. You can see it in the engagement from his lower back. He's leaning forward, talking this way around, and whenever he's stressed a little bit, he'll kind of just move from here, but to here. There's a slight active engagement of this way around, which is.
Oh, I noticed he was sort of like bobbing up and down. Seemed quite energetic in the interview. I was weirdly Will from the in-betweens. Which I've never noticed before.
He is a briefcase wanker. He is. But to be fair, so am I. What were you saying there, mate? Sorry.
I was saying, like, imagine if the interview ended with him doing a Will from the In-Betweeners and I've done a poo. After all that.
Comes back in blue tracksuit bottoms.
Oh.
But like talking to the lower back, right? Physically speaking, at this moment, are you in any pain? No. Right, and it's hard to describe this as physically or mentally, but like of physically being aware of your body, do you feel comfortable? Yeah. Right. That's because there is an irrefutable link, not a space age hippie link. There is an irrefutable link between body and mind. Right, when you're feeling happy, positive, and excited, you move quicker. There's more energy. You smile. You do all of these things in the way that you would indicate happiness. This way around, you are relaxed. You are at ease. Therefore, your body is reflecting this. Right, you're in a comfy chair, so there's no chance for like I keep changing positions because I'll sit on this arse cheek for a while, and then because I'm quite heavy, that'll go dead. So I'll come round and I'll sit on this arse cheek for a while. Right, that's the reason for my. Even though I'm sat on a comfy chair, I'm still heavy. So these are the types of physical things that you have to take into effect. We do that with the same observations with Rishi here. There's no rhyme or reason for the kind of physical management of his body to be engaged here and relaxed here and joining here, disjointed here and hand washing here, other than a heightened degree of thinking about something, which again could be down to this type of interview makes me uncomfortable because I'm a dork, or he's going to make me talk about things that I can't / don't want to. Right?
Yeah.
That's the nature of it. And from then he goes on to he starts to get into the nitty gritty from there, the kind of specifics and the details. Although at one stage they talk about their shared fondness for cricket and Olivio, which I think Olivio is like a butter or a spread or something like that. Which
I didn't know you could connect on something like that.
like how the fuck do you connect on butter?
Yeah. Like, do you like butter? Yeah. Can't really. That should be the end of the conversation.
Yeah. Do you like butter? Yeah. Oh.
Ah,
Bye.
cool. If you can elaborate for a
Yeah.
connection, you need to get out more.
Yeah, you know too much about butter.
Oh my God, you like butter?
Yeah. Oh my God, tell me more. I don't know why we did that in an American accent, but we did. We did. So after this, he starts to go into talking about the immigrants and immigration and getting control of this and whatnot. And the things that I'm planning to do, I'm planning to create this border force and create this way of working and take stock of illegal immigrants. And Piers goes, well, that was the big thing for Brexit. That was the one that everyone was. What do you say to that? Yeah, I'm still going to be looking to do this. And no. What about Brexit in relation? Yeah, I'm still going to do this. I'm still going. He may as well be at this stage. La la, Piers. I'm not listening. La 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 la. I'm not listening to you. But what he does is he reveals the buzzwords that he's trying to push forward, in terms of the opinion that he wants to leak forward into the public consciousness, which he starts talking about things that make him proud and things that he feels as a country we should be proud of. Right? Look at the connection. Pride, proud, Rishi, country. Right, and these are the buzzwords. Exactly, these are the buzzwords that he's trying to put forward with things like speaking of doing what's fair and always putting emotions first. In an interview where Piers is famous for shouting at people and being a bit of a dick, but the questions that he's asking require just a direct, actionable response. That's all it requires.
Questions which I imagine all the public are asking.
Yeah, like ask me a direct question at this moment about something that's going on here.
How comfortable is your chair?
Very comfortable.
Lovely. Do you like
right?
butter?
Done. Fucking love butter, mate. Right? This is the reason Rishi's responses, and again, not just for Rishi, politicians in general, but can be so annoying. Ask me that same question.
How comfortable is your chair?
See, what you've got to understand about chairs, right, is it's a very subjective concern. And what's comfortable for one person in a chair isn't going to be comfortable for another.
Oh, Ben, how comfortable is your chair?
Right? And Piers visibly has enough of the kind of question dodging when it comes to the matter of nurses, but like we'll get there in a moment. But this is how you can start to tell that he's pushing an agenda, right? He's pushing an agenda. So here's the next clip I'm going to show you, just so you can start to see this kind of stuff in action.
How do you work out who are genuine asylum seekers, who actually want our help because they're desperate, perhaps from a war-torn country, from a war that we were involved in?
So there's a couple of things. A, you're absolutely right that is the bit that we have to get right, because we're always going to be a compassionate country. It's something that we're all very proud of, and that's why drafting the law is not straightforward, and we're taking the time to get it absolutely right so that we can capture those genuine...
I'm sorry, Rishi. How do you decide that again? Or are you just going to keep saying emotional buzzwords that try and bring about a passion in the country and doing things proper in the British way and telling Piers Morgan he's ace and metaphorically sucking his penis? Right? Let's watch a bit more.
...in cases, which of course we want to. But the other thing is this. As we've demonstrated over the past year or two, when we need to open up our hearts and our homes in this country to those fleeing persecution, whether it's Afghanistan, Syria, Hong Kong, Ukraine, we do. And that's what being British is all about. But it needs to be done on our terms. So what I think actually is, once we've got a grip of this system, and we've largely
right, and that's where it ends. But you can see the difference in the hands from this one to this one. He's very comfortable at this stage. The timing's on point. He's opened up slightly. He's using symmetrical and asymmetrical stuff that kind of indicates comfort in this way, that I feel at ease enough to say this and move freely. And yet, doesn't mention Rwanda.
No, yeah.
Doesn't mention Rwanda. Yes, because that is the British way. We'll invite them all in, we'll open up our hearts and our homes and put them on a plane and tell them to fuck off. Sorry, mate, I was in my own little zone then. I could just see you were talking over the top. What did you say?
I was going to say, like we heard about before, about him being socially awkward but completely unaware of it, and it's triggering my social awkwardness. Because I'm going, he's like, yeah, absolutely,
mate.
Completely.
I've got a clip for you at the end that the internet is calling the cringiest moment ever.
Oh my god!
Yeah, a cringiest moment ever. So let's have a look. Could it be that Piers' inflated ego gets a nice pat whenever he feels a connection with someone he deems to have a position of power, like a prime minister, even if it's something as banal as butter? Yeah, it absolutely could be that, and that's the thing. That's the point that we're making with doing these types of discussions in this way. That could be something that we could investigate further to see if there are other connected elements with that. And because I'm not going to reference the video in here, I will tell you, when he mentions the banalities of cricket and butter and rom-coms and Star Wars, Piers takes the opportunity to say, well, I think running around playing with toys like this is pathetic or ridiculous or something that way around. To which Rishi, and fair play to him, fair play to him on this answer, says, well, I've got 2 kids, so I get an excuse to play with them as well. I can do Legos and all sorts. Right? But that might be another observation that would support the observation about the banality of butter. That way around, that might be something else that you could work with, because he's got a disagreement. Still a connection, but it's a disagreement. Can I use that to put him down even further? Right? So what we're looking at here, moving on, when we get to the more awkward stuff, I'll show you the nurses one next, is the way people can change their body position relative to fear. Right, there is a concept that is known as turtling, which is essentially when you're trying to bring your head back into your clothes to take up less space. What if you've ever seen children getting accosted at a primary school, and I'm saying when you were at primary school, bear in mind, I'm not saying you frequent primary school and whatnot, but there is the this kind of behaviour.
Yeah.
Right. I know grown-ups do it too, but it's more frequent among children. Obviously, I see that more because I own 2 of them. They work for me on my farm. They don't. I don't have a farm. I don't know why I said that. That was I don't know.
With a gun.
Yeah. Yeah. But I did. So. We'll watch that now with the clip where he's talking about nurses and their pay.
Proper pay rise.
You're right. Nurses should be an exception, and that's because they do an incredible job for all of us, and they demonstrated that during the pandemic, and I'm really grateful to them.
So what you can see, this is he's doing that from the creases. Yeah. Piers has just said, so why don't you give him a pay rise? Is any of that an answer? Nope. But he's also stuck to the you're right. But again, you can see from the position of the hands that it is, and you get the. I'm trying to reflect it here. So you see this crease, and these creases here, because I'm forcibly pushing my hands between my legs. So you can see the same thing on the clothes of Rishi here. He's forcing it down. It relaxes and it forces and it relaxes. Those moments that we can use clothing, or at the very least, his arms, to understand what he's doing in parts that we can't see. Right? Because I know that you're like, even though I can't see your legs at the minute, I know that they have to be bent slightly for you to be able to be sat at the desk you're at. Because I know the table, well, at least last time I was there, I know it's quite close to the wall, so it doesn't offer a lot of room to stretch your legs out underneath it, right? Because as humans, we are connected. This way around. We don't have the capability to just unscrew my leg, just pop it over there. What was that?
And I'm a small man.
Fit you right in a little pocket. We can. But this is this is the presentations of what I was talking about. You're trying to take up less room. Less room. Yeah. It's like an overtly psychoanalytical affair, but towards yourself. to be able to do that. If I'm so small, I'll just show you all of my bald patch. If I'm so small, they won't be able to target me. This one. And that's the outward reflection of it. Let's watch some more.
And you're right, I grew up in an NHS family, so this does burn deeply inside of me because I know how important great health.
And just incidentally, burn deeply inside of me is a reflection of Piers' question. The NHS, it should burn deeply inside of your soul, right? Outwardly reflected there. Supporting comments again.
And including my own family. And we did treat them as an exception. People forget that actually during COVID, when I was Chancellor, we instituted a public sector pay freeze because actually wages for most people
were not answering the question. Now, Rishi, good lad. That's precisely we're keeping to it. And the more it goes on, the more you start to see these same repeated elements over and over and over and over. So even though there was the desired agenda to show him as more of a human, that he's letting Piers into his house when nobody else was let in there. I mean, Rishi holds his own, in fairness, when Piers tries to talk over him. He still continues to get the point he's trying to make across, but the point doesn't answer the question. It still does it in support of Piers' ego. He's still keeping these same buzzword elements over and over and over again, indicating the coaching and the specific speech patterns around some things that he's going to talk about open and honestly versus the things that he really isn't going to talk about openly and honestly, i.e. immigration, the nurses' pay, the car park charges, all of this kind of stuff. Even he's even questioned about the whole trans pronoun debate, this kind of thing. I don't know if you heard about that guy in Scotland. Did you hear?
No.
So there was a sex offender in Scotland, a known rapist who had raped two women, declared himself as a woman, and was being tried as a woman, being sent to a woman's jail. This way around, and his ex-wife is going, what? He's only done that so he can be a soft touch and be sent to a prison with more women. Right? Yeah, so he's brought up this kind of thing, and again, Rishi. I mean, he still gives his opinions that Piers actually agrees with, but you can see this outward reflection of stress through his eyebrows, through all of this position, through the lowered tone, the lowered head, the additional washing and wringing and tense fingers that go round. All of it right there, repeated over and over again through the entire interview. And I'm just going to show you this last thing, which is supposedly the cringiest thing ever. It's when it's when Piers asks him about how wealthy he is.
Oh.
It's just Rishi's reaction. It's just his reaction that's ultimate cringe. Here we go.
Yes.
You've never smoked?
No.
Never taken drugs?
Mm-mm.
You're stinking rich? Right?
Well, it's a matter of degree. I think most people would consider that I'm financially fortunate, yes.
And you got a degree from a US university? Financially
fortunate? Nope. You married a billionaire. That's what you did. but and you can see the gulp. You can see it.
Yeah.
Let's just do that bit again.
You're stinking rich.
It's like it was almost going
There it goes.
Water out.
Oh,
I think most people would consider that I'm financially fortunate. Yeah.
which again, right? So, like, I what was that, mate? Sorry, I'm talking over you again.
I just love the I am financially fortunate.
Yeah. I mean, no one's saying that when he worked for Goldman Sachs, he wasn't good at his job. That's where he might have made a decent bit of his money. Fair enough. More power to you. But since you've started to move into the MP ship and whatnot, El Doggio. So I noticed this during this time because I'd seen the clips of this particular bit before I'd watched the interview. And when you go back and you watch the whole interview, whenever there is a moment of tension, whenever there is a moment of apprehension, this is up and down like one of those paddles with the elastic band and the ball on the whole time. So in short, there we go. There are some behaviours and markers that you can use to look at Rishi Sunak through a more examinable light. That way round. My voice is going kind of movie trailer effect now. In a world divided by beards.
In a world where no one is financially fortunate.
Yeah, Rishi Sunak lies atop of all their corpses. So there we go. That's just a brief look. We could go on. We could examine everything. We could go back and forth. We could talk about all of the what ifs, which are all very relevant. They are. Yeah. But this is a mere humble podcast. So if that's of something of interest to you guys, we can pick it back up again in the future. And so yeah. Oh, by the way, I watched that Poker Face with Natasha Lyonne, the kind of connected TV from the Knives Out universe.
Yes, you were telling me the TV series. I didn't know it was called Poker Face.
I sent you the trailer. Sorry, yeah, it's called Poker Face, and there is the connection to the Knives Out universe, other than it being written and directed by Rian Johnson, is very small. Yeah. You remember how she's on Daniel Craig's screen when he's in the bath? It's her, Angela Lansbury, Stephen Sondheim, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But the connection to it is that's actually Natasha Lyonne on there, not the character that she plays in Poker Face. So the line is that she's in the makeup chair getting ready to go and film Poker Face. That's the connection. Yeah, that's from that.
I do like it.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? It's good, and that's from Rian Johnson's mouth as well. So that's how it is. There's no kind of internet rumor about that. That's how it is. But these are different as well because at the start you are let in on the crime. You know what's happened. It's not a whodunit. It's a how is she going to catch them? That kind of thing. And I really like the fact that it's not like a scientific element. She doesn't explain lie detection as movements and verbal content and all this kind of thing. It's just a feeling that she knows. Like whenever she sees someone lie, she'll just go bullshit. And just carry on, regardless of how small or insignificant it is. Bullshit. Sorry, that just happens. Carry on. That way around. And there are some really kind of inventive crimes, and it's a great show. It's a great show. I look forward to the next episodes. It's on Peacock. Which is is a bird, obviously, but it's a TV channel. It's a TV channel as well. So, dude, final thoughts on Rishi Sunak?
I think I want to know more about how fortunately financial he is in these financial times. I also want to see his lightsaber collection. I want to hear more about that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, tell you about the sci-fi stuff.
Rishi, get your sabres out, lad.
Yeah,
absolutely. And slap them right on Piers' forehead. Get it done. That's it. Right, guys, we're going to love you and leave you. Thanks for sticking around for the live stream. And to everyone watching this in the future, if you enjoyed it, don't forget to click the bell and the button so you get notified when new episodes are published. And we shall talk to you very soon. Look for the episode coming out live on Tuesday. How to memorize a kidnapping. We're looking at memory techniques that you can use to get you out of a kidnapping that way around. Very much inspired by Sherlock Holmes, and as in the film Sherlock Holmes, Robert Downey Jr. and taken to and our trips around several car boots. Yeah, as well. So, au revoir, à bientôt, toodles, bye, X-Force.